Merry Christmas, Paper and Glam readers. Tonight we are closing out another year of book club. I can't believe it. We're closing out our second year together. So thank you so much for reading along and making time in what can be a very busy season to chat about our December read. As with every December, we read a very, very light, fun read. We read Tolkien's Letters from Father Christmas, and let's see if I can get the cover to show. There we go. And so it was just a fun children's book. If you haven't read it and you're just joining us, definitely stay with us. This is just a light, fun read. There's no way to spoil it. If anything, you'll just want to read it if you haven't, and it'll go right on your wish list. But definitely stick with us if you had a busy month that didn't quite get to reading. So while the live stream catches up and everyone joins us, we are going to do a little icebreaker, and I'd love to see your comments in the live chat as well, because we're going to be adding some books to our to-read list. So our icebreaker is if you could recommend one book that you read in 2016 to your friends or to the Paper and Glam community that you think all of us would really just enjoy or should read in 2017, what would it be? And it's a non-book club book. If you really want to say a book club book, of course, be my guest. But this is for non-book club titles. So we're going to all get out our notebooks and see what needs to be on our 2017 reading list. So Hayden, what book do you think we all need to read in 2017?
So I took a page out of Sarah and Katrina's book, and I read The Queen of the Tyrrelling by Erica Johansson, and I loved that book. I see what they've been raving about, so I highly recommend it.
I was going through my my list of books that I've read for 2016, not book club related, obviously. And the one that I took the most value from actually was Disney U. I don't know if that's ever been on the book in the book club or not, but definitely one that that I would recommend work-wise and business-wise. I think it was a great read. It was an easy read, and yeah, I really appreciated it. I also read a lot by Leanne Moriarty. She's one of my favorite authors, so I would always recommend something by her because I think she's great.
The book that I've started that I really recommend for everyone is a book titled Unashamed by a musical artist named Lecrae. I know it's a bestseller, but I've started it and I absolutely love it because I like his perspective of talking about his life. This is something that I could really relate to. He is a rapper who happens to be a Christian, and just sharing so much of his life and what he's been through has been really inspiring. And I think that if people who are interested in maybe, who are interested in rap or interested in anything urban culture, that will be a great read. I'm so excited to finish it. Like, I've already started it, and I don't know, I just love the poetry because he put some of his music in there, and I'm really excited about it. So I think if anyone else is interested in something like that, that's what I would recommend for them to read.
I think I might have two recommendations. So I read this year Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, and I think I'm actually going to read it again this January. I think it's a nice, like, fresh perspective, new start for the year. So I think I'm going to add that with A Year of Yes. And then for like a light read, I just finished The Red Queen, and I really liked it. I don't know that it was, the way it was written was kind of a struggle for me to read, but I really, just because it was, I don't know, choppy, something, there was something with the writing that made it difficult for me, but the story was really good. Very, post-apocalyptic, dystopian novel. I really enjoyed it. And it's a trilogy. I think the third one just came out, so I'm excited to plunge ahead on those, the rest of the trilogy in 2017 as well.
Sorry, I stepped out. Is it me? Okay. I'll probably do a lot of reading over break because I actually have a break. So I think I got like 6 books from the library the other day, so I'm going to try to get through all of them, and just kind of push through and do that. And I kind of definitely want to read, I think, like A Clockwork Princess, Clockwork Prince. They kind of go with The City of Bones. I can't remember what they're called, but somebody out there knows, and it's not me right now. So I want to do all of those too sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. I would say the book, it's so hard to choose. The book that stands out to me the most from 2016 is probably Big Magic. And I feel like I forced this book on you like multiple times after Erica forced it on me, but it's just really well done, especially if you're someone that really wants to create more in 2017, whatever that looks like for you. That book, I would say, is just it's a book everyone should read, whether you're, if you're someone that struggles to pursue your hobbies, which I, surprisingly enough, am definitely that person. I feel like I always have to get through like my to-do list before I can like sit down and relax or whatever. So if you are kind of can fall into that kind of very task-based workaholic spirit, I would definitely recommend that. Big Magic was just exactly what I needed at the moment. You know how you have those books. And then the other book I can't recommend highly enough that really, really stands out to me, I read just right to kick off 2016, and it is 1,000 Miles in a Million Years by Donald Miller. So I absolutely love his work. He's so good. So definitely, especially, so 1,000 Miles in a Million Years is about how all of our lives are stories and how we as people live in story. And that's why it doesn't talk tremendously about this, but the premise is that's why, Jesus taught in story, and, God is always writing a story with our life. And I know that sometimes I can kind of lose the plot of my story, and that book really it just makes you feel like you're living for something bigger. And on those days when things just seem a little too routine, he really just kind of lends some perspective to that and what God is doing in our own lives and in the world at large. So definitely cannot recommend those two enough. And I will link all of those titles below. So if you're like, oh, I didn't get all those, I'm going to work while we're answering to get all those links in the description bar. All right, so our next question is the one that we always start out with, and it's how many stars and what was your experience reading Letters from Father Christmas? So I do this every month because I switch back and forth. So I read and I listened on Audible. I loved this book. I thought it was so cute, and I just loved how imaginative Tolkien was. And, the writing style, I did read some comments that the writing style was a little bit choppy, and Tolkien is like a master storyteller, right? So that definitely was very intentional, but I didn't quite understand what the intention was for that. Like, it was definitely, he chose to do that for a reason, and was, why was Santa so, kind of shaky when he clearly gets a lot done? And one of the comments in the Goodreads string said that it was because he was writing like a child. He was writing like to these little boys and eventually a little girl, and he tried to make a very childlike writing style. And I thought that was so cool. That totally went over my head. So I can definitely see it being a little bit hard to follow. And I love to hear your guys' thoughts on that as well, in the writing style. But yeah, I love the pictures. I just thought it was the perfect Christmas read, and definitely one of those, especially if you have kids, that would be like a perennial night before bed type read. So I would say it's hard to rate these type of books because this is like a kid's book. So I'm gonna skip the star rating, but I definitely think everyone should read it. It's fun. Okie doke. Kaden, how about you?
I gave it 5 stars because I thought it was really cute, and it really put me in the Christmas spirit. I've been having a hard time finding my Christmas spirit this year. I don't know if it's because December's gone so quickly, and like Christmas is next weekend, and I was like, what? Christmas is next weekend? I don't have anything done. And I listened to this today while I was doing stuff and doing my planner and everything, and I was like, well, I kind of feel like decorating my tree and getting Christmas out. So I gave it 5 stars because it put me in the Christmas spirit.
I'm with you, Hayden. I gave it 5 stars too. Once I realized what it was and read it for what it was. I think it's a great book, and I thought it was so good that I actually handed it to my 9-year-old. As you can see, she started it. I wish I had discovered this book earlier when my kids were younger, because I kind of like the choppiness that Lisamarie was talking about, because this would be the perfect kind of book where you would start like December 1st or something and take it with your kid and do like a bedtime story, and you can read a couple of letters from Santa, and your child obviously can decide, or you can decide how far you want to go in. But I think that choppiness lends itself to kind of read it incrementally, and I think maybe that's the way it's supposed to be read. So she's a few letters in, and she tells me it's really good, and I have to give it back to her as soon as we're done here.
So, full disclaimer for myself is that I did not finish the book. I wrote down the wrong date in my planner, and I've gotten so used to Audible that I was just like, oh yeah, I purchased it on Audible and I'll listen to it a couple days before we chat. And lo and behold, the date crept up on me. So I did not get an opportunity to read the book, but I'm so happy that Lisamarie has allowed me to still participate in the discussion, to talk about Christmas, and also see what you guys think about it. I am excited about what I have listened to so far, and I'm excited. I think it's something that I definitely want to share with my girls, because like I said, they're still little, but it's still definitely on my list to complete eventually.
I loved it. I mean, yeah, it's kind of silly to give a kid's book 5 stars because I'm so hard on everything else. But I mean, I don't know, 5 stars. My copy has, I'm flipping through it because they're great. Did everybody else's copy have like these amazing illustrations? Love them. So I listened to it on Audible because I also just had like a total fail moment and didn't realize book club was tonight until earlier this week. So I listened, but then I kind of flipped through and looked at the pictures kind of at the same time and went back and stuff. So I really loved it. I thought it was great. I liked all the characters. I didn't mind the choppiness, although sometimes because I was listening to it, I was like, wait, what a minute. Don't think I was paying attention enough, and so I had to kind of backtrack a little bit, but I loved it. 5 stars, I guess. I mean, because it's a kid's book. I can't be that hard on it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, 5 stars too. I was reading it with my boys. I had to read a little bit at the end by myself just to kind of catch up and make sure I finished. So I'll finish it up with them before Christmas. But we just were reading a couple every night, and some of them, they were like, whoa, that's long. One's good enough, Mom. Especially like when you get about midway through toward the end, some of those letters are like the Christmas of like 32 and 33 are pretty long letters. But they liked it, and they really liked the illustrations. They're like, oh, I want to see the picture now, Mom. Where's the picture of that? Especially if he's like, oh, I drew a picture, but it wasn't until like the next page. They're like, why isn't the picture there? So they really like that. I think that's part of why I gave it a 5, is because I can see in my mind's eye, I can see them in the future when they're parents, hopefully thinking like, oh, I want to read books with my kids like my mom did for Christmas. Like last year when we did Miracle on 34th Street, we read a chapter every night. And, it's just kind of nice. That way they have not just like the fun picture books that we will read anyways also, but like some of the hardier children's books, and that they'll remember them.
I love it. I'm so glad that you guys felt the same way I did. It definitely got me in the Christmas spirit. And this is a total tangent, but I just like want to take a minute to be real, because I'm so curious now that Hayden said, this just made her feel like getting her tree all decorated, because Hayden was talking about putting her Christmas decorations up like the day after our book chat. So I'm so curious now, like what type of Christmas readiness are you guys, what state of Christmas readiness are you guys in? Because I feel like I am just, this happens every year, right? I feel like I'm behind on Christmas and there's only a week left and I just want to soak it all in. So I was decorating my tree today while listening to this book, and it was just reminding me of the reason of the season, which is Jesus, of course, but just the magic of the season when it can seem like there's just like the regular things to do times like 10. So I'm just so curious, like, are your like presents wrapped? If you guys don't mind sharing, like How has December been for you? I just need to know.
Well, real talk, I have done 0 Christmas shopping. My tree is up, but undecorated. I got my wreath out last night and all my stockings. And let's see. I made my list with all your beautiful stickers and my beautiful pins, and that's about as far as Hayden's got for December this year.
Well, I would like to say that for Christmas, I absolutely have this thing where I have to be come Christmas Eve, like all cozy, everything done, totally relaxing, looking at the tree, looking at the sparkling lights. I don't want to do anything. Don't call me. Don't ask me to leave my house. It's not happening. So I have everything like purchased. I don't have everything wrapped, but everything's decorated because it's just my thing. It takes away from the season for me if I have to do the runaround type thing at the end, which is hard because my mom likes to procrastinate, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna take you out. Because we live in a pretty congested area, and so the thought of actually going out and dealing with crowds of people, it just ruins it for me. So yeah, I purchased my last item today. So I'm like, I'm good. I have to be that way so that I can just, I like to reflect over the year, and sit in front of the tree, and I don't know, just want to be so relaxed. Like I don't want to be out in the cold and then the bus, hustle and bustle. So yeah, I'm happy to say that, I feel like as far as the whole scale, that I'm where I want to be as far as like, come the big day.
For me, I learned the hard way, and this is where being a planner girl comes in handy. I have my husband's birthday, my daughter's birthday, Christmas all in December. And then there's, 2 work parties to attend and Christmas pageants and this and that. So I'm done. My husband and I took a Sunday and we just went out and we just banged it out and we're done. Got home, wrapped. It took an entire Sunday, but it's done. Only because, like I said, I learned the hard way. When you have that much going on, you kind of have to pace yourself, both for the bank account and for your sanity. Also, we tend to travel for Christmas, but it's become a really good habit, even when we don't travel, to get it done early. Just exactly what Tabitha said, where you can get to Christmas Eve and put your feet up and throw a couple Christmas movies on and not have to worry about it. So sometimes it does take from the Christmas spirit, but I'll tell you, it helps me when I can go to like a midnight madness, or I want to go to the store and get something that I'm not looking for anything. I'm there to feel the Christmas spirit and to, obviously enjoy being around the people without having to worry about, I have to get this, I have to get this, I have to get this. So yeah, and we're done. I got the tree happening. There's presents under it. We're ready to go. And yeah, bring it on.
So completely unwrapped. All my presents are unwrapped. They're actually in my spare room in just a giant mound right now. It's ridiculous. I sorted them today, trying to kind of make chaos out of that room, or make like order out of the chaos of that room. But I am, as ever, behind. Last year, our goal was to be like Black Friday was going to be our last shopping day of the season, besides just like, going out and being in the madness. And I forgot that worked so well last year. And so, I don't know, we got a couple weeks before Black Friday and I was like, oh, it's here already. We haven't done anything. But the tree is up. The house is mostly decorated. One bin of decorations still needs to go back down in the garage so it's not Christmas chaos in here. But I already, I have such a huge list for this weekend because it's my last weekend before Christmas, because I like baking and wrapping and all of that. So it's going to be a busy weekend for me. So I'm behind, even though probably not as behind as I could be and have been in years past. Still trying to kind of enjoy things. And Christmas break doesn't start for Landon until next week. Well, next Monday. So there's some things that we usually do as a family, like during Christmas break. So it's already feeling like, oh my gosh, it's like the week of Christmas and it's the first week of break. So I don't know. It's crept up on me for sure this month or this year.
I have some stuff done and not others, kind of like everybody else. We have our decorations up. We left one box accidentally up in the garage, and I just told my husband, like, forget about it. We don't have to have that this year. It's fine. It's no big deal. Just because I didn't want to stress and stuff, like Tabitha said, like, just nobody, we don't really have anybody visit us or anything, so it doesn't really matter. It's just for us. My kids finished school today. I don't get off till next week, so I kind of have more like babysitter other chaos I have to figure out. That's kind of keeping me from doing stuff I need to do before I go. And I have to get all of my wrapping done. I usually have it done by now, and I always start my shopping like insanely early, like August. So I just have some of it to do, and we only do 4 gifts for our kids, so that helps a lot. And I think I just needed one for each of them. But I've had other things pop up, like my son last week had to buy like literally an entire new wardrobe because I went to go put long sleeve shirts on him, and not one long sleeve shirt fit in his closet. And so we had to go and buy an entire new wardrobe that wasn't like budgeted or planned. And so I was like, that's awesome. And just little things like that have popped up, but it's not, I don't know, I'm very like, whatever. I'm not a type A person, so, which is good because my husband's job's chaos, and we always have chaos pop up in our life, so it's good that I'm not that way. But so I know I'll get it all done, and if I don't get something done, I'm okay with it.
I love it. Thank you for embracing my random tangent on like the state of Christmas, the State of the Union 2016, the State of Christmas 2016. So I'm all shopped, which is good. I don't have anything wrapped. There's like a mound of boxes super high that I just need to wrap. So that's good. I'm usually really kind of put together on the shopping front, but for me, like the decorating, I haven't quite done yet. My house was all decorated 2 weeks ago, but for some reason the tree, which is my favorite part, it's like the crown jewel of Christmas. It's just like sitting in front of the tree and reading or just like cuddling up. That's one of my favorite things about Christmas. I just have neglected my tree, and I'm so bummed because I'm going home to Napa for Christmas in like a week now, and I'm like, darn, I don't have as much time to enjoy it, and I don't like to kind of cram things in like Tabitha was saying, because that takes away from the experience of enjoying Christmas. And that's every year I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let Christmas sneak up on me. And I feel like this year, sometimes last year it always happens to an extent, and I'm like, I didn't let it sneak up on me. I did the best I could, and like Jana had said, it is what it is. You just do the best you can, and the point of it is not to do all the things, right? But this year really like snuck up on me. I can't even believe it's next weekend. So thanks for having a little real talk session, both book chatters and those of you who are sharing with us in the live chat. Okay, I really want this cherry pistachio biscotti that is being discussed in the comments. That just sounds amazing. So Candace, that sounds just amazing. How Christmassy and fun does that sound too? I feel like I need to Pinterest that recipe. Okay, back to our book club discussion. This is book club, although I feel like we could have a seasonal living one of these live chats too. All right, so this is kind of a tough question, but I really wanted to just bring out some of the highlights for this book. Well, I guess it's not a tough question. It's a little bit of a tough question for a kid's book, but what was your favorite quote, character, scene, or literary device? I love the pictures. I just loved how he imaginated Father Christmas's whole world. And if I was a kid, I would completely buy this. I think that's really what it was. And he just explained so many things. And oh my gosh, I almost believed in Santa Claus myself, and I guess that's what I loved most about it. But yeah, just do your best with this question, Hayden.
Well, 1, of course Santa is real. If you don't believe in Santa, you don't get gifts. 2, the polar bear was my favorite because he reminds me so much of my little dog, Momo. Momo gets into everything. He tries so hard to help, but he gets into everything, and he's just your classic small dog, even though my husband won't admit that gets way too much attention and is spoiled rotten. So the polar bear was definitely my favorite.
Oh, Hayden, my perpetual soul sister. Yeah, definitely the North Polar Bear all the way. He was the comedic interlude in the book, and he was just hilarious. And I can relate to the big paws and the struggles, his struggles. So I agree. Ditto here.
So I actually was reminded, I just recently found out about someone who took this concept and they made it into a business for kids. And it's just now clicking, so I said I'd go ahead and share it. So what they do is they'll send your kid, because kids love to get mail. So they'll write letters from, they'll pretend that they're either a pirate or a princess, and they will write letters to your child pretending that they are this imaginary person. And you pay for the subscription, and they send the letters to your kid, and your kid gets the letter every, like if you sign up for 4 months, then your kid gets the 4 months worth of letters from this person. And so I just now realized that, I was like, hey, this is kind of reminds me of this book, because it's, a series of letters and it's for kids. And how great is it to kind of get into something, imagine, to, use your imagination. I think that's one of the things that we can enjoy about kids' books, and that sometimes we forget, like if, something so fun, like, just an imaginary world. And that's what I'm looking forward to, of going back and picking up the book and reading it to my kids. But I just thought about this person who made this decision. I was like, oh, well, that's actually a really cool idea, because I know a kid would love it, because kids love mail and kids love, their imagination. So if you, I mean, he was on to something. So obviously someone was like, I'm going to run with this. But that's all I had to share about it.
Yeah, I also loved the North Polar Bear. Ridiculous. I was chuckling the whole time. And I like the little, because again, my book has the actual letters in it. And so I like that he took the time to scrawl on the side little comments that the North Polar Bear had to make, which in the Audible was a totally different voice. So I liked that. But then I liked the book version kind of backing it up. It really just kind of, I don't know, brought it all home. And the North Polar Bear also kind of reminds me of my big, dumb, giant dog that has, I don't know, I think we're at 25 ornaments that are casualties of her investigating the tree or helping. So it just kind of, that was definitely my favorite character, and really brought it, I don't know, just made it special.
Yeah, I agree. The polar bear is awesome, and I specifically liked when he set off all the fireworks, and he's like, "That's why the aurora borealis are just amazing right now," and just that picture that went with it was just perfect. And my husband says I'm just a little obsessed with the aurora borealis, so that's probably why. Probably because I'll never go and see them because I hate the cold, so I just can only imagine it in my mind's eye, and so yeah, I definitely like that part the best.
Sorry, I'm having an off day tonight, you guys. The season has worn me down a little bit. A little tired, but you guys always perk me up. All right, so this is a very good segue to the next question, because I think we're all going to say the North Polar Bear, but if you were one of Santa's helpers, which would you be? So I too would be the polar bear, because he was just laying around eating all the things, telling Santa, oh, I'll help later. And he was just having fun. And I imagine him and Santa have just all these kiddos to get presents for, but he was just I'm just going to hide my snacks in the woods and play around. But they still got it done, and somebody in the comments just said that they were a married couple bickering. Oh, that wasn't somebody in the comments. Well, it was in the comments, but that was Hayden. So very, very cute Hayden. I loved kind of how their relationship developed too, Santa and the polar bear. In the beginning of the book, Santa was complaining about the polar bear, and the polar bear said, no, that's not what happened. And then at the end, they were just like thick as thieves. So I thought that was really cute. How about you, Hayden?
See, I think I would be a mix between an elf and a polar bear because I'm the one you want around when something needs done. Because if it needs done, I'm going to do it and we're going to get it done and we're going to knock it out. I don't do well with the waiting around. I might have been called a steamroller or a control freak before. But I'm also with the polar bear where I just want to have fun when it's this time of year. I don't want to take things too seriously. That's the whole point of Christmas is not just about Jesus, of course, but it's the whimsical and being, having fun and enjoying the time of year because we all forget that we actually need to slow down and enjoy life. We spend so much time trying to get ahead and plan and do this that we don't ever enjoy it. So I think I'd be a good mix between the two of them.
Okay, Cindy's passing on this one, so that means it's Tabitha's turn.
I'm just gonna go with polar bear.
Okay.
This sounds like fun.
Love it. I love that you're just a good sport, Tabitha. You're such a good model for just like rolling with things. I totally agree with what Hayden said. It's like if I have one goal in 2017, it's just like, we gotta just roll with it. I can be a little too type awesome. I have to work on that in 2017. So I loved what you said, Hayden. And Tabitha, thank you for joining, even though, you mixed up the days, because that's just how life goes.
Yeah,
Right.
being real.
I know, right? I love it. Sarah, how about you?
I think actually, as much as I loved the polar bear because he was Santa's problem, not mine, I think I'm Santa though. Like totally grumpy and trying to be all type A about everything and get everything done and just shaking my head at the poor polar bear. So that's probably who I really am, although I do tend to hide snacks places, so that could kind of be me as well. But yeah, I'm probably more like Santa. Like, we got to get this stuff done, and foiled by the polar bear as ever. So, yeah. Oh, and side note, there is also, I should have said this after your first comment, Tabitha, but I wound up in La La Land somehow. It's like lettersfromsanta.com. I hope Landon doesn't hear me. He's watching TV in the other room. We've had letters sent to him from Santa. Like, you can fill in specific stuff about like what your kid has been doing for the year and how old they are, and they'll send like a picture of Santa writing your letter, and it's like very similar to these letters from Santa. It's more of a form letter, but I think it's like $20 if you forget about it and don't get the Groupon, but there's always like a Groupon or a Living Social deal for like $12. And it's pretty cool. He's loved it. I think we're a little past the letters from Santa, but I also don't want to like ruin his life by him hearing me. But they've been really great the last couple of years.
Just to piggyback on that, Sarah, I don't know if you guys have this in America, but in Canada, the kids here can send their letters to Santa in the Canada Post mailbox. So you don't need a stamp or anything. You just put Santa Claus, North Pole, postal code is ho 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 ho. The Canada Post will send the child the letter back. So just make sure that their name and address is on it, and then within a couple days or a week or something, you'll get your child will get a letter from Santa, and it's completely free. So for your Canadian friends out there.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard, especially because here in America, and especially as a business owner, the post office is probably the least whimsical thing in my life in December. So I love that. I love that they do that. How cool.
Yeah, and even it's a great thing too. Like, there's Santa Claus parades happening everywhere across the country. Your kid can take, and there's always Canada Post postal workers, and they literally can hand them their letters right to the elves in the parade. So it's pretty cool. Or when you go to the mall to get your pictures, you can take the letter there, or literally you can go to the end of the street and put it in the big red box, and you're good to go.
Oh my gosh, I forgot the question. Oh, who are we supposed to be? I think I'm with Sarah, and I'm a little more Santa-like than the polar bear, or maybe a mix between the two because I want to be lazy. But, in my house, I'm in charge of making, like what my friend says, like making the magic happen. And so although I stress out and because I'm completely disorganized, I'm always like, oh no, this happened and chaos is always happening, but I'm in charge and I have to still make like Christmas happen. And so I feel like I'm a little more like Santa like that. Like as my children create chaos around me, or my husband's schedule does, or whatever life gives us creates chaos around me, I have to still make sure that on Christmas Eve we have magic, and on Christmas morning there's magic, and that we've gone and seen the lights and all the things that you kind of plan on doing so that your kids have like warm Christmas memories. So I feel like I'm more like Santa in that way. My kids don't do Santa, so we don't worry about like letters to him and stuff. So like that's at least a nice, easy kind of break from the other stuff. But I have to still make all the other stuff happen. And because they know it's me, I really have to make it happen, because then they can be like, Mom, drop the ball. So.
Awesome. Okay, the next question is, and shout out to Hayden for helping me with these discussion questions. They're a little bit of a challenge to come up with every month, even though I do recycle quite a few of them. So if you guys, side note, if you guys ever can think of, a question that we should discuss as you're reading, I would love to hear it in either the Goodreads string or the Facebook group or wherever. I absolutely love help with these questions. I always want to get them out sooner, and I have the best of intentions, and then it just doesn't quite happen. But anyway, so this question I really love from Hayden, and it's, what do you think fuels Christmas spirit? So this is kind of in line with all the things that we've been talking about so far. I think I'm gonna let you go, Hayden, because you are so incredibly festive, and hopefully I'll when we circle back, I'll kind of have something to add on.
Okay, so when I was little, my mom made Christmas a very big deal. Christmas was like, I don't know, it was kind of like Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas, extravaganza all thrown together. I'm talking about there wasn't a window without a light in it, garland everywhere. We had a humongous Christmas village. I mean, it took up most of the dining room. We always had, my stepdad was a doctor, so we always had his patients who came and ate Christmas dinner with us. My mom made like this gigantic feast that would feed 40 people. And to me, what fueled her Christmas spirit was her love for others and trying to show other people that if you care about somebody or you care about other people, it passes like a fire. And so, sorry, I'm getting emotional. So that's what I try to do every day. And with my Christmas spirit is help out someone else, or shout out to a good, hey, your lipstick looks great today. Hey, where'd you get those shoes? I really like those. Because anything can make somebody feel like $1 million. And there's just so much hate in this world that I think if we all took the time to show a little kindness to one another, we could really combat whatever it is going on, no matter where you are. So that to me is what fuels my Christmas spirit, is to try to make the world a better place for you and for me, and for maybe one day the children I have, or the children that I'll adopt, or your children, or whatever it may be.
Well said, Hayden. That was great. I completely agree with everything you said, as usual. I looked at the question and I thought, how am I going to answer this eloquently? The only way that I can think to say it is, it's the feeling. And I think the feeling that everybody is having the same feeling as you at the same time. It's like everybody has this common goal, and yes, it's stressful and the malls are busy and there's traffic and the money and this and that, but there's something about the culmination of all that on the 25th, the evening of the 24th and on the 25th, that it makes the air different for somehow. And I think that that's what fuels the Christmas spirit. When all is said and done, that's the part that you remember. And that's why, from year over year, we forget how stressful we were that month of December. We forget that maybe we should start a little earlier, and we forget it's kind of like having a baby, how you forget, you don't think about it, and we all go on to do it again. Right. So, I think it's kind of the same thing, and it's something that changes, and changes the air, and changes the environment. You have the patience to spend, your Christmas Eve with your drunk Uncle Bobby, or your crazy Aunt Sally, or whatever. All of a sudden, you just have the patience to do that, and you come out enjoying it a little bit. And it's just a special time of year, and I think that that's what really fuels that spirit.
I definitely think that it's something, individual, of course, but I think it all starts with your childhood and maybe what Christmas was like for you growing up, and either like maybe if your Christmas wasn't what you wanted it to be, so as you get older, then you're thinking, oh well, I want it to be this way for my kids because it wasn't this way for me. So I think that growing up and having memories, because I think that when we're little kids, people really like to talk about how magical Christmas is, and from a little kid standpoint, they're talking about Santa Claus, they're talking about the birth of baby Jesus. Like, you're just thinking like, wow, this is such a magical day. And I get all these gifts. This is great. Like, I think that it all like kind of starts there. And I think that it kind of, as you get older, or years after year, it just stems from that point of view of like, wow, this is like a magical day. Oh, and maybe people don't have to work, or like, I just think of it from being from a kid. Like, you experience it from the time that you're a kid all the way to when you're an adult, and it has like such a stamp on you. And I can understand maybe some people who might not like it because maybe their stamp wasn't a good stamp, or wasn't happy memories, or maybe something tragic happened to them. But I think that, I don't know, because it's something that you experience from such a young age all the way up, that's kind of what fuels it, fuels that spirit for you currently. At least I know for myself, like, I remember all the Christmas memories and what was so exciting, or what was so special. Like, even if it was something as simple as like, my great grandmother would always make sure we had all kinds of fresh fruit and nuts. Like, that's like, that might seem so simplistic, but it's like stuck in my mind because we didn't have walnuts and all these other things any other time except for Christmas time. And so I just think that it's because it's stamped on us at a young age that it kind of keeps, I don't know, it kind of fuels us, and we always want to kind of throw back to those warm and fuzzies, or great memories or moments, or like you said, or you want to change them if you didn't happen to have them. So that's kind of what I think fuels it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the throwback from our childhood, as well as, I mean, there's such an emphasis around this time of the year to spend time with your family and focus on creating traditions and doing special things, that I think it just kind of, it's just magical in general, and then it kind of perpetuates itself because, yeah, either our parents did a really great job of making it magical for us, or we are going to try to make it magical for our children because it wasn't for us. So I think, and I mean, even if Christmas is on a Tuesday, it's a special big event, with a lot of emphasis around it, that you wouldn't put on, a random Tuesday in September or something. I mean, it's the magic and the effort that we put into it that fuels the magic, I guess. I don't know. It kind of feels like it does it on its own.
Dad, that's me. Yeah, I think it, of course, like pretty much what everyone else said, that just kind of, you want to like recapture something from your childhood, or create something you were lacking that maybe you saw on TV or you heard other people talking about. And so I think that's it. Like, going to the Christmas lights and it's cold outside, and if you were us, you stayed in the car because it was cold outside. And I mean California cold, not real people cold. But and things like that, or, decorating your tree, and, like we did you could have one present on Christmas Eve and the rest you opened in the morning, and so like my brother and I would open one present before we went to my dad's house. And then we opened, presents with my dad's family, and then the next day with my mom's family, and we had like Christmas with my stepdad's family, like 4 or 5 days after Christmas, and then with my mom's like other part of the family, like we had like Christmas like all month long. And so I think it's kind of just that idea of like keeping it going, and the stuff you do at school, like the paper chain and counting down to it, and the anticipation and the build up, and getting your new like toy and just playing around and getting your stocking and just all of that fun stuff. And I think that's the magic, of Christmas, and it keeps it going. And there's just always, I don't know, like, it's just so fun to see all the little kids happy, and even if they just got one thing and they're happy. And so I think that's, because one thing is more than enough. It's more that somebody thought about you and loves you. And in our house, of course, like I'm sure like many of you, we definitely do like a huge focus on like Jesus, and we don't do Elf on the Shelf, so we hide like our 3 little wise men that are from our Little People nativity scene, and the boys have to find where they're at, and the wise men are like looking for Jesus as like the day approaches. And we just do different things like that, like throughout the month, so that they kind of have this anticipation, this build up, and going to a special service at church, or just the different things that you can do that make it special as like a holistic experience.
I love that. I love everything you shared. I think what really stands out to me is just the communal experience, and that it's something that we as culturally all do together, and not just, in one country like America or Canada and countries that are very close. Like, this is something that people do all over the world. And I just love that. And also, similar to what Hayden said, my mom just did so much to make not just holidays, but every day special. And I'm sure that you guys can relate to this, because now that I'm older, and, and she also owns her own business, and Christmas, especially with business, I really try not even to do any like promotional things like beyond what I would normally do, just because that stuff can just be really overload for all of us, I think. But like now that I'm older, I can just so appreciate all the things that she did in such a new way. And at the same time, I'm just like in awe, because I have no idea how she did all of these things. I mean, she's like super old school, right? She had like 3 square meals on the table, and that was just, regular. And then on top of it, she just did so much to make every season magical. And that's just, at Christmas, we all kind of get to recapture that together and share so many of the same traditions. Like Jana said, opening one present on Christmas Eve, that was just like such a highlight as a kid. And so many of us kind of can talk about those things and like take traditions from each other. I think that's just beautiful, and really, really fuels the spirit of community that I think can sometimes get lost in our culture, because, we're all so busy and we're all looking at our phones and all of that stuff. So it's a time to come together as well. All right, let's see. I also have to correct myself. The U.S. Post Office does do a Letters to Santa program. So it is called Santa Mail. And if you send them a letter, it will actually go to Anchorage, Alaska, and then you will get a letter back from Santa. So that is pretty cool. Cindy educated us. All right, I have a little more love for the post office after that. All right, lastly, we will finish up with if you loved letters from Father Christmas, you'll also enjoy fill in the blank. So for me, my favorite Christmas book growing up was The Jolly Christmas Postman. I love that book. I read it every year, and I look forward to reading it every year. My mom put out this little basket of books, and I love books, obviously, as a kid. And so she had a basket of books that was just Christmas books, and I would only get to read those books during Christmas. And I would always ask her if I could read The Jolly Postman, in the summer. And she'd be like, nope, you have to wait till Christmas. And I love that. It's similar to some versions of this book, Letters from Father Christmas, in that some versions actually have like letters inside the book, and you can actually like, pull out the letter and read it. So that's how Jolly Postman is. If you haven't seen that book, it's just such a cool, fun book, and I linked it in case you want to snag it. How about you, Hayden?
So mine is an adult book, and I'm doing this one for Katrina and I because we both love James Patterson, and it's called Merry Christmas, Alex Cross. And he is at his church with his Nana and his kids, and someone tries to steal something, and then a hostage situation ensues. But it's a really good read, especially if you just want something that's not very Santa related, but still Christmas. If you're just looking for a fun adult read, I really liked it.
I'm old school. I'm a Miracle on 34th Street girl all the way. My favorite, long-standing favorite, and I don't think anything's ever going to change that.
Sorry, guys. I didn't have a like traditional book, but what I really love is just going to the Bible and reading the birth of Jesus story. To me, that's like, that's the season that kind of just gets me going and just makes me feel good. So I make sure that I go back and read that every Christmas.
I think I've said this before, but it's The Magic Christmas. It's a Sweet Valley Twins part of their series. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I read it so many times when I was younger. The twins get these like elf dolls, like matching twin elf dolls, boy elf dolls, and they're kind of ungrateful about them, but then they're magical and they take them into this different world, and it's really great. So I love it. I actually think talking about it, I might have to reread it again this year because it's been a while and I just remember it being so great.
Like Tabitha, we mostly, growing up, we didn't really do a ton of Christmas books. And we did like all the little kids, like short story books. And I love, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" will always be probably my favorite Christmas poem. And I can remember like the version that was read to us at school. But I love reading, like, we would mostly get like books that were different versions of like, the birth story of Jesus. And my mom would buy a lot of those. So most of our Christmas books were those. I didn't even own a copy of like The Grinch Stole Christmas until like last year. But I remember the book being read in Christmas at Christmas time at school that stood out to me the most was The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, because I just thought it was so hilarious and, with just precocious characters. And I remember that from like third grade.
I love it. I tried to get most of those in the description bar for you guys. I know I just added a bunch to my Christmas list or reading list. I always get asked about seasonal reads, so this helps me kind of think of some books that kind of set the tone for Christmas. And of course, we always read a Christmas book in Christmas, so it's always good to have some new titles. So yeah, I think that is a wrap for Book Club 2016. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe another year has gone. So next month, we are going back to the last Thursday of the month. As usual, we always just bump it up for Christmas and Thanksgiving to just kind of avoid the holidays at the very end. So January's read is Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. It's linked below as well. If you haven't watched the kind of book club overview video, definitely check that out. If you have any questions about book club or you want to get connected, that has all of the details and then some. There's also planner kits in the shop if you want to get organized. I made planner kits with matching stickers with all of the titles for your planners. And then the 2017 version of Glam Reads, which is pretty much, it's gotten quite the little refresh here, including book review stickers. So these are starting to ship on Monday too. So that is fun. We just got them in today. So I'm really excited about the new Glam Read stickers. I know a lot of you had requested that I add book review stickers, so I spent a lot of time kind of restyling and retooling those for a fresh new year of reading together. I think that is all of the announcements and housekeeping things. So cannot wait to see you guys again in the new year for Year of Yes. And yeah, thank you so much for reading along and just making this time to hang out every month. I really do appreciate it. Books, by no means are like the sexiest thing, in terms of YouTube usually, but I appreciate that, so many of you really kind of appreciate the heart behind having book club and just taking the time out with me, because it's fun and everything is just more fun with you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and just have the most Merry Christmas. And thank you, book chatters, for donating all of your time. All of our book chatters will be back next year, so nobody's going anywhere. So thank you for that. Thank you for not hanging up your book chatter jersey on me. And yeah, all right, I'm gonna stop saying thank you finally. All right, Merry Christmas. Bye, you guys.